Hey guys, welcome back to the Big John TV cooking episode. You're with me this time. We're talking beef. We got a almost 8-pound standing rib roast, aka prime rib. If you Google the words prime rib or standing rib roast, they're basically the same thing. Just the word prime rib. It gets thrown around because it makes it sound fancier, and then they'll charge you more for it. There is, depending kind of where it's cut off of the cow, but basically a standing rib roast, a ribeye roast, prime rib, it's all about the same thing, right? So I like to find one that's about, I want about a pound of raw meat per person for my party. This will be my Christmas Eve, the family's Christmas Eve dinner. You'll probably watch this after, so now you can follow this for like New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I'm going to show you my method for prepping it. I'm going to show you a seasoning I'm going to try out for the first time on a big piece of beef like this. And then I'm going to show you my cook method and how to slice it when we're done. So let's get rolling. Okay guys, let's get working. So I have a 3-bone standing rib roast. You can get them from the grocery stores, the butchers, wherever you go. A lot of times you'll see them separated off the bone and then re-tied back on. Or when you get it really cheap, really on sale, which is what this one was, they don't really do much work at all to it. So I'm going to remove the bones. I don't feel like I need to cook it on there. And then the method I'm going to show you is going to be a little bit different than most anyway. And I'll explain it as I go. But my first move will be to remove the bones. Nice sharp knife right above the line. And we're going down and in. You want to angle your knife so that you're just running on the top of those bones. You're not wasting much meat. And if you feel like you are, pull back and start over again. And then you can bring it from the top side down. Once you get inside the meat like that, then you start to turn it. Now the butchers do this for you, but they'll also charge you for it. Now you can see it coming off that side and that side. So realistically, I'm almost there as it is. A little bit more. Now if you wanted to cook it whole, just like this, that's fine. But I'll show you my method and explain it to you. You just want to be careful that you don't get crazy, so you don't lose any more meat than you need to. You get to a certain point, you can almost just pry it apart. Boom. There we go. So there's your beef ribs, and there's your roast. Now if you wanted to do that, separate it out, then you could season all the way around the meat and the bones, put the back on top, and then you could tie it together. That's what you're going to find at the store most of the time. But again, I'm going in a different direction. So now my next move, you see this chunk here, all this fat here, all the fat there. A lot of people won't eat that off of their steak, off of their plate. So when you serve them the whole steak, it looks like this. That's 90% fat there. A lot of people won't eat that anyway. I know my mom won't, Jessica won't. I will, but I'm going to show you how to please both of those crowds. This was a little bit difficult for me to do when I first saw the method, until I tried it, and then this is my preferred. So now this muscle here, you can see that it almost wants to separate as it is, right? I'm going to remove that. Right down that line. So now you still have the ribeye, both sides. You now have no bone. Then you have very little outside fat. A little bit here, and I'm going to leave it just as it is. That's a good amount of fat for me. It's not a big, thick, hard cap. Okay, now see now this extra flappy bit here? Gone. There's no reason for that. Just like that. Now, when I cook this too. And I'll show you why when we're done with this process. It'll be good eating. Not everybody will like it because of the amount of fat, but it's still good eating. And then the ribs will get seasoned and cooked on the same sheet, the same pan in the oven, same time. And then they're going to be good, delicious beef ribs at the end. And there's 3 of them. So from this point here, that's done. I may do a little bit more fat right here because this is a little bit of a hard pocket. Alright, so now having this be boneless and having it be as compact as it is will help with the cooking time. You'll be able to season the meat all the way around, and then they crust when you're done cooking it, and I'll show you that at some point too. It'll be all the way around, not just half, and then this side gets nothing. The whole roast is going to get seasoned. The whole roast is going to get that flavor and the crust when it gets cooked. Alright, first step done. Okay, now we're ready to start seasoning this beast of beef. I start off with just a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to give it a slight coating. Not going crazy. And while you're at it, give the ribs and this other chunk a little bit too. Just enough to help the rub that we're going to use stick to it. Do the back side. All the way around. Remember, we want seasoning and flavor all the way around the beef. I'm doing my best to use one hand dirty and one hand clean, just so you know. Okay, so we've got everything now coated very gently in the olive oil. Today I'm going to be using a product, let's see, can you see that? There it is. Naturific Gourmet Salt, Q Salt. This is a hearty umami blend. This was given to me to try by a friend of mine in the barbecue world. Naturific.com. I will put the link in the description down below. Give them a shout. All natural ingredients, which is really cool. There's not a bunch of funky stuff in there. Let's see, can you see that? There you go. Which is kind of cool. You know, you buy a lot of the products you see on the shelves are full of stuff that you can't even read the words, right? So this is hand harvested sea salt, premium herbs and spices, and I don't know if you caught that or not, but there's actually mushroom. There's ground mushroom in there. So really nice, like it says, a hearty umami flavor. That's what I'm going to use today. And all 3 pieces are going to get some of the rub. Not too worried about the back side of those ribs. Okay, and then don't forget about this scrap. And I'll show you why later. Tasting this stuff on its own, it's got a nice saltiness. The pepper flavor in here is super good. And then the word umami, which means, do you guys know what umami means? It's basically a rich, hearty, strong flavor that kind of encompasses everything.
Balance of sweet.
The balance of sweet, savory. Basically it's really just rich, I think is the best way to describe it. Alright, so now we're going to give it a coating. It's a big roast. I may need a new bottle of this rub by the time I'm done. Making sure to get all the way around. Alright, when I asked him if there were any tips to putting it on there, he said don't be afraid to put it on there liberally, to pack it in there. So that's what I'm doing. And that's going to be it. I prefer my beef with a saltiness and a pepperiness, and that's really pretty much it. You don't need to go crazy with the flavors. I want to taste beef. And these seasonings and these spices are going to complement that beef without covering it up, without overpowering it. It's going to be a really good balance. So that's what we've done. Alright, seasoning step done. I failed to mention that we are seasoning this roast the day before it's going to be cooked. Today is technically Saturday. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be Christmas Eve. This will be eaten on Christmas Eve. But I want to get these flavors and the seasonings onto this beef a day ahead of time to let them really stick and do what they're going to do to help this roast out. So this is a 24-hour ahead of time. That's when you're getting started. Okay, third and final step. We're going to put the stuff in the tray to go in the fridge. We've got this specific roast. I think will handle 3 pieces of butcher's twine. And we're going to tie this guy up. Basically what we're doing when we're tying it up is we're keeping everything compact and in one shape so it doesn't squash and flatten out while it's cooking, which will make it look better and will make it cook better. Everything will be one big unit, so everything will go and cook the same time. So regular, what do you call this one when you're tying your shoe? The original? Let's see, you guys follow me on this one? Over, under once, under a second time. Pull that tight as you can, and then one more simple under.
It's called a surgeon's knot.
Surgeon's knot, just like that. That'll keep it tight, keep it compact, keep it all one shape. Lay the string out underneath. Again, if you missed it the first time, ready? Simple under and under. Pull tight. See, it wants to stay. I don't need extra hands holding that in there. And the last piece, the end. Once, twice. Pull tight. It wants to lock into place. Under. Boom. Done. So now we can take the scissors, cut the extra string. Oh, these suck. Alright, that roast is completely done and ready to cook. Now before you put it in the oven, you want to let it get, I prefer, now this isn't, I'm not telling you the only way. My preferred method is to let it sit out, get to room temperature, so a roast of this size, 30, 45 minutes, maybe as much as an hour. Get it to room temperature before it hits the oven. I cook my roast at 250 degrees until an internal temperature of about 120. So that's what we're looking for now. If you have a thermometer to stick in there and leave, that's good. Right in the middle of the roast. Otherwise, just have to open the oven and check it after an hour or so just to gauge where we're at. Okay, so for us at this point, we're actually done. This step is done, but we're not going to cook this roast till tomorrow. So it will rest in the fridge, just in a regular tray, overnight for us, and then we will cook it tomorrow. Get the rest of that seasoning in there. And again, remember these guys, they get all the same love everything else got. The ribs as well. Alright, we'll catch up with you when we're cooking it tomorrow. Okay guys, we are back. This is the next day. This is Christmas Eve for us. Roast is about to go in. Again, it was seasoned 24 hours ahead of time. Left in the fridge. Now it's sat out on the counter, covered for about an hour, just to try to get it up to room temperature before it goes in the oven. The oven is set at 250. You can see I have all 3 pieces. I have the ribs, the bones. I have that flap from the end of the ribeye, from the end of the roast, and then I got the roast. Still has a nice tight shape. All the seasoning is there. You see I've got it on a cookie sheet on a rack, a cooling rack. I like to cook it on the rack just like this so that the heat can go all the way around it, up and top and bottom, underneath and everything else. Makes for nice even roasting. And then you can still collect the drippings if you wanted to make a jus out of that when you're done. Alright, in the oven it goes. Okay guys, this is where we're at. This is the next step. The roast has actually hit 120 in the center of it, right there. Let's see. 126 in the very core. That's going to be a perfect, that's a good rare right now, a good medium rare. Unfortunately, I gave myself way too much time, and that happens. That's okay. I'd rather this be done early than having, I can take care of that, but if it's not done when people are ready to eat, that's not good. 20 minutes per pound at 250 degrees was the general ballpark time frame. This has taken just over 2.5 hours, so that math actually works out pretty close. And we have a couple hours till dinner, so what I'm going to do is, just as it sits, I'm going to take it, cover it in foil, and it's going to rest on the counter, out of the way, just like that. That's where we're at now. I forgot to do this part. Okay, so before I foil it, actually I wanted to grab this little piece here. This was that little triangular flap, right? I'm not going to be done cooking that one yet. I want to go a little bit farther. So I'm going to take it real quick and throw it in this pan. I'm going to wrap that in foil and I'm going to throw that back in the oven, and it's going to continue to cook. I want to get that chunk of meat till it's super, super tender. Wants to just fall apart. So that's taken care of. Now the rest of the roast, like I already said, covered in foil, just like that. Let it sit on the counter, let it sit on the stovetop, out of the way, and we'll take care of it at the next step. Catch up with you in a couple hours. Okay, we are at the last step of this roast cooking process. It's rested. It's getting close to dinner time, so the last step you need to do before you cut it, it's going to go in an oven, 500 to 550 degrees, as hot as you can crank that oven up, for about 10 minutes. What that's going to do is going to set the crust, it's going to reheat things, because it's been sitting for a little while, crisp things up. That's the last touch. So into the oven one more time. Okay, the roast has been blasted in the oven, crisped up, got a beautiful color to it. Let's get it sliced and get it plated up. So here are the ribs. Those will get put on the platter as well. That little end piece, the little triangle, it's been cooking the whole time, cooked extra long. If you're in the barbecue world, you know what burnt ends are. Kind of similar theory here. And here we go. Okay. Let's not forget that there's butcher's twine still on there. So we'll... All right. And here we go. So I like to do a good 1/2 inch to 1 inch slices. 5/8 inch. Now you notice it's good and pink, but it's not bloody, and it's pink all the way through. It's not just in the core center. Now if you have people that like it more done than this, I have a frying pan or that same rack that just came off of. It'll go back in the oven for just a few minutes to get it a little bit more done for those people that want it more done. I can cook it further, but I can't cook it, I can't undo it. So I'd rather cook it rare. Beautiful. Alright. Just like that. So there you go, guys. We're going to plate that up and it'll be ready to eat. I think I'm going to leave you there. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. Let me know if you cook a prime rib. Tell me what your preferred method is. Do you like yours rare, medium rare, or you're well done? Let me know. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time. See you.